Reader, if you think yourself an adventurer, heed the warning in this old man's collection of strange, small things, and go not into the Forbidden West. Welcome to Legends, a series that delves into the lore within Horizon Zero Dawn, a world with an abundance of powerful and moving history begging to be explored. Today, we attempt to decipher the mysteries of Horizon's most enigmatic region, the Forbidden West. A title earned from those foolhardy enough to venture into its unforgiving lands, never to return. Perhaps most famously, His Luminance Buld Ariv, 6th Sun King of the Carja. As with all Carja, no entity is held in such reverence as the sun. In this, Ariv saw a great challenge in the sun's passing to the west, and thus decided to set forth after it. With his great army behind him, he embarked westward. 3 times they would be pushed back at the great canyons that would come to be named the Daunt. On his 4th attempt, he and his entire cohort vanished, never to be seen or heard from again. Lost to the wilderness, the kingship passed to Ariv's brother, beginning the reign of the 7th Sun King, Prudent Bosadid. He ordered the construction of a great fortress at the Sundom's farthest reach. He decided to build it atop a great ruin of the Ancient Ones, believing they had seized the position long ago for unknown strategic advantages. He ordered much of the ruins be collapsed or built over for his fortress, all except the great Too Smooth stone ring, which was left where it stood to garrison the troops of the fort. Though fear lingered over the soldiers and builders alike in the land where the sun goes at night, they drew strength from the mighty and unshakable walls that now surrounded them. His Luminance and his high priest, the irrefutable Pashaman, named the fortress Sunfall, under the blazing eye of the sun. Sun King Bosadid then declared the lands beyond Sunfall the Forbidden West, where only the sun may go. Though travels into the region were prohibited, those few determined enough still trekked into its uncharted lands. Accounts of those who lived to tell their stories differ greatly, but we will attempt to tie them to the world we know today in hopes of illuminating what still lies west of the Carja Sundom. Where we can begin is by cross-referencing Sunfall itself with the vantage spike left by Bashar Mati overlooking Bryce Orbital, leading to the conclusion that where the Forbidden West begins is in present-day Bryce Canyon in southwestern Utah. From this jumping-off point, we can better ascertain the true locations described within the lore. To pre-frame, due to the nature of how real-world locations are distributed within the world of Horizon, not all distances and coordinates can stay entirely accurate to their actual whereabouts. Red Rocks is not directly across from the city of Denver, and so forth. With that in mind, and with a bit of suspended disbelief, let's dive in. Within the accounts of the scanned glyph, the Forbidden West, transcribed by considerate Udane, Healer of the Blazon Arch, the first account tells of 3 types of deserts, each distinctly different from those found within the Sundom. The first is described as the palest white. This most likely points to the surreal White Sands National Park in Mexico. Covering 275 square miles, it is the largest desert of its kind in the world, made entirely of gypsum crystals, giving it its iconic white sand. The next described is the color of fire, a trait which could point to a number of possible matches, either Red Desert in southwestern Wyoming, or even the Painted Desert in northeastern Arizona. Though both of these picturesque landscapes match visual descriptions, neither really make sense geographically, being more north and south than west of Bryce Canyon. Though not as vividly red as the former prospects, Nevada's Red Rock Canyon State Park could be a match for these accounts, but similar rock formations and color palettes are prevalent within the western Sundom. The next was a bit harder to speculate upon, as it is described as limitless sweeps of blue sand that seem to reflect the skies above. Though more north than west, perhaps the most likely candidate to explain this phenomena can be found in northwestern Utah. The Bonneville Salt Flats span 40 square miles and can produce an effect similar to what is described within the lore. When rain comes to the region, a thin layer of water remains on the surface, creating a massive mirrored scape, indeed capable of reflecting the skies above. Hopefully a sight we will all be able to experience in the next chapter of Aloy's journey. Vast prairies of unforgiving plant life are also mentioned, which in high desert areas of the western United States are not uncommon. However, it bears mentioning that all of this would have to be actively re-terraformed post-Pharaoh Plague, since the swarm would have consumed all organic materials on the planet to fuel themselves. The, quote, incalculable plains of dried mud, cracked like a great mosaic, may also be nondescript areas of the arid West. But similar topography can be found among the 1,000 square miles of Black Rock Desert in Nevada. To those embarking on foot, and with no point of reference, the scope of this torn landscape would indeed be near impossible to comprehend. The next set of accounts are particularly interesting as they pertain to the kinds of terrible and mysterious wildlife living within the unknown. One describing strange birds, all the colors of kites and fireworks, chitter and call out in men's voices. It's not hard to imagine these birds to be some manner of parrot or parakeet. According to Artemis Alpha Charles Ronson, many birds of paradise zygote samples were regrettably lost pre-Zero Day, becoming permanently extinct. It seems, however, some, but not all of these exotic species were doomed to be lost to the pages of history. It would appear that some of these adventurers accomplished the near impossible, making it all the way to the coast of California and the Pacific Ocean. Once again having nothing close to gauge it by, they described it as follows. Most extraordinary of all are the reports of a lake 100 times the size of the Daybrink, so wide the far shores cannot be made out, and so deep an entire city of the ancients stands drowned within. The water is sour to the taste and sickening, and it's said to rise up and push back against those who attempt to cross. The city in question, I feel, has less to do with the very active San Andreas Fault that the state of California resides on, and more to do with Horizon's exclusive timeline. In the 2030s, much of the continental coastlines were swallowed beneath the waves due to a global rise in sea levels. I believe that these are the remnants of this catastrophic event. Even with clawback efforts of the 2040s, it's hard to imagine that in a little over 20 years, that kind of wreckage could be removed entirely. Many more ruins of the metal world are said to dot the landscape, and with them, tales of new and terrible machines more fierce than any known in the Sundom. If these claims are true, one of two factors may have to be at play. One, that the effects of the derangement are elevated the farther away the machines are in proximity to the remains of Gaia Prime, or Hephaestus' control over Cyan is only the latest in a line of victims used by the subfunction to further his goals of eradicating the threat of humanity across the globe. As perilous as these dangers may be, it is said that there are those who have made this untamed and frightening world their home. Udain's recollection is as follows. And what manner of men can live where the sun goes at night? These tales were the most chilling. One spoke of drinkers of machine blood, their lips and tongues stained, their teeth replaced with metal. Another described youths as pale as ash, all wearing the same faces, who hunt silently and tirelessly in the night. Still another told of a tribe seen only from afar, whose folk busied themselves digging deep pits in the sand, only to fill them again for unknowable reasons, while another tribe was only glimpsed on the waters of a great lake, riding their thin, dark boats. With the Forbidden West so close, yet just out of reach, it would be truly incredible to venture into this world so alien to the one we have come to know. Imagine wandering the skeleton of the Great Black Pyramid in what was once Las Vegas, whose light once blazed into space itself, hunting massive and terrifying machines of the seas with the nocturnal hunters of the region, and perhaps most importantly of all, uncovering the origin of the transmission that wrought Gaia's death and set Aloy's life in motion. It seems we only stand on the tip of the iceberg in this world of our own future. For now, it remains the Forbidden West, but we can only hope our adventures there will not remain that way for long. And with that, our journey comes to an end. If you'd like to see more content like this, likes and shares are always appreciated. And if you really like what we're doing at the channel, hit that subscribe button and join our community. The topic for today's video came from one of you, our awesome subscribers, so if you have any lore that you'd like to see explored, let us know in the comments down below. And until next time, thanks for watching, and keep questing.